Let me just make a little more light on. I saw my own video just quickly and it looked really dark, like I'm half in shadow here.
Yeah,
Yeah?
darker than.
So I have a little more light. Bear with me. How's this?
Yeah.
Good. Sarjana is back from Germany after visiting her mom for a couple of weeks, so we just had a half hour of sitting quietly.
Oh,
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
reacquainting.
Hmm.
Mhm.
This involves um, a lot of resting after a 9 hour
Yeah.
time difference.
Mhm.
It's nice to have her back.
Mhm.
Hmm. So I don't know why, but I thought chapter 20, chapter 28 here.
Mhm.
I don't know why I have number 30, verse 30 jumping around in my head, just the number. So
Okay.
yeah, I just thought I'd grab that one and jump in if that's okay, or if you have thoughts on
No, I had a quick
um,
look because I remember you were saying that you were having difficulty with it. So I was like, but just an hour ago or something, I read the first 10 verses. Mhm. Then I stopped.
okay.
Do it.
It's the other chapters, it's so hard, not so hard, it's easy to sort of pick up the melody
Yeah,
in a way, but in this one, since he's sort of going, okay, there's four things, I'm going to cover each of them in turn,
yeah.
after each one is going to be complete.
Mm,
uh,
mm.
so reflections on the first 10 verses you read, anything to say?
Um, I think maybe we should like read the start because the start is kind of like an introduction, isn't it? And then skip to other verse.
Okay.
Um, I kind of thought it was pretty straightforward. It's just
Oh,
basically saying the same as always. Everything's the self, everything's the self, and all four aphorisms are the same. Here they are. Will I read a few verses?
please.
Yeah.
Maybe what will come is it'll just be
Everything.
obvious as to why I'm making it so hard. I mean, maybe
Mm.
that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's hard. But I know what you mean about the flow, maybe because he's explaining what each word means and all. Maybe it has a different kind of feeling. A little
Mm, yeah,
bit.
yeah.
For the benefit of all, I shall tell here, in the manner the perfectly full Shiva has explained it, the meaning of the four great aphorisms that clearly, directly reveal the nature of the pure supreme Brahman, the essence of the crest of the Vedas, which is extremely secret and rare to come by in all the world. Absolute knowledge is Brahman. Then it says Prajnanam Brahma in brackets, which appears at the end of the eminent Rig Veda, is one such aphorism. The aphorism I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, which is at the end of the faultless Yajurveda, is another. The aphorism that you are, or Tat Vamasi, at the end of the delusionless Samveda, is one such aphorism. This self is Brahman. I am Atma Brahma. At the end of the rare Atharva Veda is one such aphorism. So what I hear when I read that, like they're all the same. Everything that he said is the same, isn't it? Like absolute knowledge is Brahman. I am Brahman. That you are. The self is Brahman. Just saying. Or another way, in more modern terms, or in the type of teachings that I am more familiar with. I don't know what teachings you're familiar with, but like teachers these days are often pointing to either awareness and consciousness. So it's basically saying awareness and consciousness are the same, or they're pointing to I and I am, and they're basically saying they're the same, I and I am. So in a way, when you're kind of looking to see, you're almost looking as if there's a difference, like just to get clear about what is I am, and you're looking as if there's a difference, but actually then there's no difference, like that. So it
Mm.
sounds like that's also what this is. Absolute knowledge is Brahman, and like that, wasn't there I am terrible at remembering quotes, but wasn't there something, maybe Ramanuj said it, or maybe it's from some ancient text or something, and it's kind of saying, I am Brahman, Brahman is the world, and the world is, what is, do you know what it is?
It's not coming back to me in the same way. I'm
Yeah,
just not recalling.
yeah, I'm terrible. Anyway, it's basically just pointing out that everything is the same. All the
Okay.
teeth. The same. So that all the
Right.
teachings are the same, and all the words are the same. They're basically just saying the same as all the time, that all that's here is that, which doesn't actually have a word, and that's why there's so many different words to say the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what I hear. Anyway,
Okay.
of these four great statements that are in the four Vedas, I shall give the meaning of the first. Prajnanam Brahma, absolute knowledge, is Brahma. Son, there are two words in this: Prajnanam, absolute knowledge, and Brahman. Listen to the essential explanation of the former word prajnanam, absolute knowledge. Knowledge itself is called absolute knowledge, prajnana. All is perceived by knowledge. So he's explaining it very like super clearly. So if all is perceived by knowledge, like when the only way we can understand what he's talking about is to actually like see from our own experience, because he's not asking us to just believe his words or something. So then it would be like when I read that, all is perceived by knowledge. So like there's something here that perceives everything. Like I am here and I perceive everything. So he's basically saying that is knowledge itself is called absolute knowledge, and all is perceived by knowledge. So he's basically saying I am knowledge.
Hmm.
Like what I am, what you are, what is. It's perceiving everything, and that's what true knowledge is.
Hmm.
Very like straightforward. As all the world that is seen in knowledge is seen as an illusion in knowledge, there is nothing apart from knowledge. All the world and everything else is knowledge only. Knowledge is our real nature. Knowledge is the nature of the Supreme Brahman. The meaning of the word Brahman is the reality, which is truth, knowledge, bliss, of the nature of the substratum of the entire universe. Nothing that is a superimposition on Brahman is apart from Brahman. All that is sentient is only Brahman. Brahman is our real nature. Brahman indeed is of the nature of the of absolute knowledge. So when I read that, it seems like he's using the word Brahman for everything, everything that we see, everything that seems to be, because he's saying nothing that is a superimposition on Brahman. So it's kind of like everything that we see, like a superimposition. You see a body, you see, you see anything that you see, literally. So it's kind of like another word for like what these days people are call consciousness. Like
Hmm.
everything is consciousness. And then he's saying Brahman, or consciousness, is indeed of the nature of absolute knowledge. So it's basically of the nature. So it means like it's the same. It's the same. It's made of that. So it's the same thing. So he's basically saying I am absolute knowledge, and Brahman is, or consciousness is also absolute knowledge. So basically I am all that's here, or the self is all that exists.
Hmm. Hmm.
I like
Yeah,
the
I've
way
been.
like he explained it very like just simply.
Hmm. I've really been grasping at this knowledge word. It's sort of like there's some kind of identity there where, and maybe I'm only saying it because I'm coming at it from a real superficial level. Like I'm
Mhm.
supposed to understand, and that understanding will yield knowledge. But clearly that's a misconception.
Yeah, I think maybe just because the word knowledge is used often for like knowing things of the mind,
Mm,
like I know that
mm.
it's sunny out today, or something like that, or I know 2 plus 2 is 4. I was hoping I'd get it right there. Split second. 2 plus 2. But knowledge is used in that way, isn't it? Like as well. So I think when you
Yes.
hear the word knowledge, it's like I'm supposed to know something. But in this sense, it's not like it's saying that you are the knowledge. So if you
Mm,
are the knowledge, like you don't have to know anything because you
mm,
are the knowing itself.
mm,
And it doesn't necessarily know it doesn't know anything other than itself. That's this what this is saying.
mm,
So it's
mm,
just itself. So therefore there's no need to understand anything
mm,
because you don't have to do anything to be yourself. You don't have to understand anything to be yourself. You just are yourself.
mm, mm,
And sometimes you might have the sense that we understand something. And like it doesn't matter. It's like sometimes you feel hot, sometimes you feel cold. It's like it doesn't really matter. It changes all the time. So one minute you might feel like you understand. Next minute you might not feel like you understand. It really doesn't matter. They're like superimposition on Brahman
there you go. Mm.
because everything is a superimposition. And they're all of the nature of Brahman. So, same. This is like it's almost like this book. It's just like he's getting a paintbrush and like with the words, he's like painting everything the same color. So like literally everything that you could think of or imagine or come up with. It's just the same. It's just the same. Same. It's all Brahman knowledge. So it doesn't matter. Like different words are used, but he's loads of different points throughout it. He's being very clear about saying even if I use this word or this word or this word or this word, they're literally all the same.
Mm. Mm.
We
Well,
really
that's
don't have
really.
to understand
Mm. Yeah, that sort of takes the air out of this balloon I was trying to inflate here.
anything.
Good, good, good.
The reality that is absolute knowledge is Brahman. The reality that is Brahman is absolute knowledge. By such conditioning as ignorance, the undivided absolute appears as dual. When all the conditionings disappear, by the understanding of the aphorism, absolute knowledge is Brahman. The one reality, the mass of knowledge, remains as the undivided meaning. Would you like to skip to some verses that you wanted to skip to?
Well, I want to say something about the mass of knowledge. When I hear mass, I think it's a really big thing. It's a
Yeah,
really big thing.
it sounds like there's like a size.
Yeah.
It's like that's what's here. It's a mass. It does. That's just a word.
Mm.
This
Well, it's
is like
it's.
whatever I say is just like also just my mind in a way,
Mm.
kind of, isn't it? So I very easily will just like disregard maths or something because it does sound like that.
Ah.
Well, like I just at least like for me, I don't feel like it's worth my effort to say, oh, it must mean something, and I have to figure out what it means. I just disregard it. It's like it doesn't
Ah.
mean anything, and like I feel like it's easy to do that just because really just from our own like direct understanding. Like when you're just looking, you're at a certain point if you want to be just clear about who you are, you can just see like it doesn't have a word. It doesn't have a word like Brahman. or knowledge or bliss or anything like that. But yeah, there is just a kind of a um I don't know, maybe you could say like I'm gonna say another word. But there is a kind of like a silence that's
Mm,
just here. And it's kind of really obvious that like that's what I am. Like it effortlessly just knows about everything. Anything that can
mm,
possibly arise here, which is the only place that I know of. Like anything that effortlessly is here, it's just effortlessly known about.
mm,
And I feel like that's enough. So then you can pick up some words and read them, and you can either feel like you understand them or not. So sometimes it'll seem as though you understand them and they kind of match your own way of looking at things, or sometimes they don't. But like it really doesn't matter because it actually doesn't change that what we
mm,
actually see, you know. And maybe what we see is the same, but like we might use different words to describe it, you know. And maybe one day we might use the same words and the next day we might use different words. But it really doesn't matter because they're all just words. And that's
mm,
probably what you like one of the recognitions is just recognizing like you said at the start. You said something like everything basically said everything is an illusion to me. Hold on, there. So knowledge itself is called absolute knowledge, prajnana. All is perceived by knowledge. So that's that same silence that I'm using silence. And then as all the world that is seen in knowledge is seen as an illusion in knowledge. So like that means everything that's like arising within that what I am that doesn't really have word, it's just an illusion. So whether it's the word mass or anything else, it really doesn't matter here. Like I mean,
mm,
that's
mm,
just like my one of my ways of being with things. Now maybe at different times it's different. So um, pretty easy.
and it's yeah, yeah, thank you so much. It's just curious that somehow the words, a couple of particular words have just sort of triggered all this conditioning.
Yeah,
uh, it's like
it is.
stirring up the bottom of the fishbowl or something.
Sometimes when I hear the word math, I kind of feel it like, like there's a kind of a sense of being or something that's kind of felt like here, it's kind of felt like a vibration,
Mm,
and that kind of feels like a mass, doesn't it? Like your kind of aliveness, your sense of being alive is kind of like, yeah, it's like a mass. So it's almost like as if it's a thing because it kind of has a like an energetic quality or something. And mostly that's when I hear the word mass, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I kind of feel like that energy it's kind of associated with here, like here, wherever like this body is. But like there's also a sense that it's just kind of everywhere as well. Um, and it's not like necessarily like right or wrong. So sometimes it's more just like if you can put your mind to rest, like anything that puts your mind to rest is really all that we kind of want because yeah, because just when our mind is at rest, there's no problem.
mm,
It's like the
mm.
mind is, but like you said, like this, it's triggered something, and that's
Yeah.
that's life, I suppose. Like different things will trigger, so then it needs a counteractive thing to let it rest.
Mm,
So it could be, that's why there's so many different things that we can do in life. There's like 10,000 healing types of things and 10,000 different types of meditation and 10,000 words, 10,000 different ancient texts.
mm,
All of them are just for the same thing to just allow us, they're all like counteractive measures to allow us to
mm,
put our mind at rest if it
mm.
gets triggered. So it's just whatever will happen.
If you take a word like bunch, like a bunch. I compare that to a mass, I think bunch, okay, well, carrots come in a bunch.
Yeah.
You just sit quietly and, chew on a carrot. It's
Yeah.
a lot less intimidating
Yeah.
somehow than a mass, which,
Yeah.
physics has a mass, now
Yeah.
it's, you really have to think hard about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, mm, mm.
Mm.
Okay, well, mission accomplished. But since we have more time, maybe we read a little more.
Mhm.
So I just jumped to 30, and it's not like I've been reading these verses over and over in the last couple of weeks. I've more
Mhm.
like been meditating on being stuck, but it's unstuck now, so we can just enjoy the flavor of it.
Mhm.
So this is verse 30.
Mhm.
Those who ordain people in all great mantras may be called ordinary gurus. Only the one who teaches here and now that you are indeed the supreme Brahman without a second can be said to be the true and worthy guru. What avails a lot of discussion? He is the guru who says, "You are the rare supreme." He is the disciple who realizes, "I am Brahman." Hence, it is only the one who realizes that he alone is the guru who teaches here that you are the supreme Brahman, and believes in the beneficent instruction of that guru as the truth, and achieves that, who shall attain the differenceless, undivided knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, and bereft of mundane bondage, abide as the nature of the Supreme, which is a mass of knowledge.
Mhm.
There is not the least doubt about what has been said. I think my left hand is going to read the rest of the verse.
Mhm.
Listening to the words of the Sadguru, the true Guru, who teaches that the worthy meaning of all of the crest of the Vedas is the undivided, non dual nature of the Supreme Brahman, and that you are that Brahman, and understanding it without imperfection in one's own heart is listening, Sravana. Nothing else at all is listening, son. Listening is the hearing and realizing without confusion of the undivided meaning of the great aphorism as explained by the gracious Guru. Nothing else is listening, ever. Thinking about the meaning of what has been heard further, accompanied by reasoning, is reflection, which eliminates all misapprehension. I shall tell you about the process of this reflection. He's going a lot of different ways here, but I'm liking this now.
Mhm.
Should I read some?
Yeah.
I am not the body, the object of perception, which perishes. I'm not the physical senses. I'm not the manifold life that departs. I'm not the mind and others which are born and die. I'm not the embodiment of dark ignorance. I am not the composite of all of these. I am, indeed, all pervasive, spotless consciousness alone, which is behind all these. Mm. The gross body does not exist in the subtle body. The gross and the subtle both are not in the causal body, which is said to be their abode. All three do not exist at all in the fourth state. As all these bodies in various states do not exist, and as that which is of the nature of the undivided consciousness alone exists in all three phases of time, I am indeed of the nature of taintless consciousness alone. Well, there you have it then.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Hmm. There's such relief. There's always such relief when I get really quiet.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to hear some more?
Mhm.
There's no waking state in the midst of a dream. Both of these are non existent in the deep sleep state, which is said to be their base. All these, waking, dream, and deep sleep, are not in the fourth state. All the four are non existent in the immaculate state, as all those aforesaid states are non existent, and as it is only consciousness alone, the immaculate, that is ever indestructible, I am indeed of the nature of consciousness alone. There's like the whole book right there.
Yeah.
Hmm. As the body and all these others that are insentient and perishable, like the pot and such that are the seen, and as the self, which is of the nature of the one supreme consciousness alone, is ever of the nature of the seer, the body and such, which are subject to division, are illusory. The indivisible self alone is the truth. Hence, I am not the composite of the body and such. I am indeed the self, which is of the nature of knowledge. All right, then. As this form filled, false, insentient, sorrowful world, ooh,
That was a mouthful, all right.
yeah, is entirely an illusory superimposition on the substratum of all, the supreme Brahman, which is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. And this world of duality, when inquired into, is only the ever present substratum, the supreme Brahman. The silver that is a false appearance on nacre, when tested, is only the substratum that is nacre. So I think about the shiny bit of a shell
Mm.
that's the nacre, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So what's he saying? It looks like silver, but it's not.
Mm,
What is it?
mm. Right, right. As this world of duality, when inquired into, is only ever the present, is only the ever present substratum, the supreme Brahman.
Mm.
Ah,
like that when inquired into. Because I feel like, I don't know, like what effect does all of this have on our life, you know? Like I don't feel like we need to be in that state all the time of like we are in that state all the time, but like as a whole, like I feel like the dream continues, as long as like there's a body, it's like there's a dream going on. And if there's a dream going on, there'll be things felt and experienced, so all the senses are alive and working, so it's not like that you are just in some empty state the whole time. Because the way sometimes if you just, like you said, it feels like a relief when you're just quiet, because it can feel like that sometimes when you choose to kind of just remove your attention from all of the senses, that it's just like all there is just like this silence. There's nothing else really. But I don't feel like that's we have to go around like experiencing that all the time, because that itself is just an experience, and that's not really, it's not I don't know what the word is. It doesn't happen. I don't think it happens. Like maybe for some people it does, but probably it doesn't really. So I think like just it's inquired into, but then it just becomes like a part of your heart or something. See, it's not like you need to inquire necessarily all the time. So even if you see things, it's like that it's not real, that it's an illusion without inquiring and without thinking. It's an illusion. You can just see it and enjoy it. It's not causing you any trouble, so it doesn't matter. And the same with all of the senses. It's only like that if we seem to get identified with something that is causing us like like a whole what did you say, like a whole pool of conditioning gets triggered or something.
Mm, mm. Yeah, like the bottom of the fishbowl, and there's all this
Yeah,
stuff there.
like if it feels like that, like sometimes it feels like if we feel disturbed, then we might choose to inquire again. Otherwise, like every time we inquire, the inquiry becomes a part of our being.
Mm, hmm.
So yeah, I don't really know why I'm saying, but I'm just kind of confirming to myself in a way. And then like it's like when this becomes like it becomes a part of you, you just live in the world effortlessly. You don't need to be inquiring all the time um or anything really. You just live live without any problems, because the mind's at rest, really, in a way. Even though, yeah, everything is the mind at the same time, so it's not really at rest because it's making up a dream still. But it's a kind of a peaceful dream. Like I like A Course in Miracles says like that life becomes like a happy dream,
Mm,
and I really like that um choice of words. Like it becomes like a happy dream. Like there's no problems.
mm, mm. Yeah, it certainly feels like the urge to, or the need to look just for overall health comes when there's some kind of drama,
Yeah.
right? That's a sign. Oh, okay, let's take
Mm.
a look here. Even this is
Yeah.
because this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If we get to the root of it, maybe we can relieve the tension here a little bit, or
Yeah.
just let it fade on its own.
Yeah. And in a way, I also feel like it's kind of joyous every time and like a relief every time. Like all what's going on in the world now, all like probably loads of different things, but like the main kind of thing, like all COVID and all this and
Mm,
so everyone I meet people and they're all saying different things, and then like part of me, I want to stay open, I want to stay open to everything. I don't want to be meeting people like kind of with the frame of mind like that's completely crazy, because I feel like it's kind of judgmental, and I don't want to be judgmental towards people. I want to be just open and let them have their way of looking at the world, and who am I to say if it's right or wrong, you know? But then that kind of way, then like it just kind of activated my mind into thinking as if I have to know or something. Like, and I really deeper inside, like I feel like I actually can't know. Like
mm,
I feel like I can't really know anything. I don't know if this is right or that's right or this is wrong or that's wrong. I really don't know anything. And then it's just like it's such a relief to just remember that I actually don't need to know anything that's not like right here and right now.
Mm,
Just like right here, right now. Like everything is totally fine. It's not like anything is being like if someone wants to put like a vaccine in my arm like right now, then the answer would be just yes or no, like right here and right now. That's all I need to know. You don't need to like project into the future like what you think about it, all these things, like or whatever, as an example, because
mm.
that's the example it comes. But literally just right now, and like it's like we know that already, but somehow when you re um reacquaint with it or something, it's like it's just a relief again. It's kind of like the same as like inquiry. It's like every time you inquire, if you need to inquire, it's like it's like a relief again and again and again. We just find the same thing. It's not like it's something new or we find something new, but it's like falling into it again,
Mm.
coming out of the illusion. Not that we were ever really in it, but I'm
Yeah, having
completely
the
fine with that as well. Like here, I feel completely fine with that. Like I don't mind if I have to like inquire or not inquire, you know, or like I don't really have the idea that like everything has to be done and I should never ever need to inquire again. So it's just like here and now is really all that matters. It's like
mm,
here and
mm,
now. Here and now is here and now. And am I here and now? Yes. And it's like there's no problems here and now because how can there be? Like
mm,
right now I am. I am. That's it.
mhm,
Like that's all that matters. It really doesn't matter if yesterday or a moment ago I was suffering or yesterday or a moment ago I was completely free or not. Because and also with the future, like it really doesn't matter. Like really all that matters is just here and now.
mm.
Hmm. I think I'm just saying it as a like confirmation to myself.
Great, great.
Hmm. And all these things of the world, they're all just stories. Whatever it is, they're all stories. It's like any amount of stories can come. Like maybe the world seems a bit whatever it seems right now. To it probably seems like different to all different people, but like that's all just one story or 10 stories weaved together. It could probably get a lot more crazy even. Like I what about okay, so that you're not bothered by any of that. How about this? Uh, okay, you're not bothered by any of this. Like we can up it, how about this? And then you can make calm. You can have like loads of stories going on, no stories. It's just like it's almost like life is just saying, "How about this?" Like life is kind of I don't know, seeing if we have any buttons, buttons to press,
Yeah.
if we have any
Mm,
triggers. So in a way, it's good, and I also feel like it's good if we get caught up in stories a little bit for a while. Sometimes, just purely so then it's like, oh, okay, it's just a story. It really doesn't matter, like you know. Or sometimes you can be kind of half in it, you can think, I know it's just a story, but like yet you're still like engaged in it. I still have to make a decision. But like you really don't. Be like that.
I love how you
Or
demonstrated pretending to struggle.
have to watch the video back to see what do I do.
Mm.
Can I read a little
Verse 39
bit?
is where we took off, and it looks like it's going to turn very beautiful here when this arising awareness is inquired into.
Where are we?
39. If you want to, I mean, if you the urge takes you somewhere else, then go with it.
Time is also 39. 3:39.
Tree 39.
3:39. And there's 39. When this arising awareness is inquired into, what is the existence and experience and enjoyment of all this world, which appears dual in nature? It is all of the nature of the substratum only. It is only the substratum of all, the supreme Brahman, that has the nature of truth, knowledge, bliss. Is there any such nature for this world, which is ever non-existent and purely a myth? I love how he says that. Like, that's great. As I exist in all the triad of times, as I reveal all the illusions, and as I am supremely joyous in all these, I indeed am of the nature of truth, knowledge, bliss, as all appears as a dream-like illusion. In me, the abode of all these appearances are indeed myself, the substratum. Just as all that happened illusorily to me during my dream, when inquired into, is only the substratum that is myself, and nothing apart from me. All that happened to indivisible me during my waking state, when inquired into, is only the substratum that is myself, and not a trace is apart from me at all, as the language of description for my own unconditioned nature, and for the nature of the differenceless supreme Brahman is identical. As one ponders over the truth as just explained, the ceaseless investigation as to how I am, indeed, of the nature of the originless, undivided Absolute, is the technique of reflection. Great sage, to eliminate delusion, I have thus explained to you the reasoning that is the basis of reflection. Just as the tree that is declared by the elders to be, beyond doubt, a sandalwood tree, is actually tested well and all doubts satisfied, even though the Guru declares here that you are indeed the limitless Supreme Brahman, it should be well inquired into, by reasoning with knowledge, and doubts about it removed. That's great, isn't it? It's like words are helpful, and like the words are like an encouragement, but we can't actually, the words and one who speaks the words can't actually do anything for you. It's like it has to happen within you.
Mhm.
So in a way, you can say like you have to do it, even though the next person might say that you can't do anything, and actually like he has to do it, but he has to do it within you. I like the way he said there. He said, I said. I love like Byron Katie. I don't know if you know Byron Katie. She says like the pronouns that she uses, she just mixes them up like he, she, I. Like at one point she might refer to herself as he or she might refer to you as I. But I can totally understand that, like right now, because like these words are speaking as like I, and it's clearly coming from like that deepest part of I myself. And then like sometimes like I hear myself talking and I'm not really talking from that place. I'm talking from like the kind of like story place. But yet then this book and this word, it's basically pointing to like it's saying that they're not different. So
Mm.
like what arises within you, it's just of the same nature. So it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because I can have the thought like comes here sometimes like, why do I not talk like I I like from that deep I place, like I am awareness, like why do I not like talk from there? But like it's just a thought like as well. It really does matter. I don't know what I'm saying, but like it's like that. I don't know what I was going back to. I was going back to something.
Well, you really liked something in verse 43 about the sandalwood tree being recognized by the elders as such.
No, I think it was back further than that I was going.
Further than that?
Yeah. Anyway, oh yeah. Wait, hold on. For reasoning of knowledge, all doubts. What was I going back to?
Okay.
Spoke too much.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I never get tired of hearing the robins in the garden.
Can I read a bit more?
Please.
Just as, no, not that one. After passing through listening and reflection, in order to overcome all counter thoughts, one should be in one should be in continuous profound contemplation, continuously, night and day. obliterating all states of mind of different categories. The continuing state of mind of all, being of a single category, is the dualityless, profound, continuous meditation. By this, all the distorted notions about the goal will disappear. Yeah, like this is what has to happen. It's like the same as like the verse before. It's kind of saying like you. Well, did it say? Did it say, or did I say that like you're the one who has to do it? It's like the words are there, but actually it has to happen in you. Well, it does say that you earned it should be well inquired into by reasoning with knowledge and doubts about it removed. Yeah. So even though the guru is saying like you are the supreme Brahman, you still need to do the question yourself. And then like the next verse, he's basically saying like how to do it really. So like all the time. And like I see that happening myself. Like so all there's all different stories like going on. And then there's always kind of some kind of reflection about it somehow at the same time. And actually in a way you don't even really do it. You can't even really say I'm doing it, but you can just see that it's actually happened within within maybe the right word, but it happens. It's
I
like
wonder. I wonder.
yeah,
I just wonder if I could help describe it a little bit, and
yeah,
you can say whether or not it's true. It's the loosening of belief. Yeah, is that kind of
yeah,
what you're referring to?
yeah. And it's like the let's say the knowledge that we are or the light itself is here and it's doing it. It's shining its light into everything. And like you
Mm,
say, did you say loosening belief? Yeah, it's loosening like all our beliefs and ideas. So like as a story appears, like so that means life is playing out. The story appears, and so there's the physical story of like whatever you see, but then there's also at the same time there's a kind of a our way of perceiving it maybe, or maybe also our reaction to some other person's action or something. But then at the same time, then there's like the kind of light. I'm going like this, like because the light is like the kind of foundation, like that's here, and that's it's almost like that itself is clearing everything up all the time.
mm,
So that's why I say like I'm not really doing it; it's being done.
mm,
I can feel that it's being done, but it almost feels like the old way of like tuning into the personal me and the personal story. Like if you tuned into that and like kept feeding that, like it doesn't give space to that light to do it.
mm,
His words maybe aren't really right, but like so in a way it seems as though we have a an option to just like be open to um being undone.
mm,
Right.
mm.
So yeah, I think I have to go now, but I'm just seeing if there's one or two of them things I can read more.
Say that again. I didn't quite catch it.
I said I have to go now, but I'm just like looking through the verses to see if there's something else to read before we say goodbye.
Well, what I want to do is read from 30 till the end of the chapter again, maybe a couple of times. It's a really long chapter. This is maybe the longest in the book. It's 61 verses. It's really long.
Yeah,
Maybe we come back to this one next time. I don't know.
yeah, we can if you want to. Yeah,
Okay.
we can like start in the middle, like around, you know, somewhere around the middle, 30s, 40s.
Okay. It's really precious to be able to share my smiling face with you. I'm just so happy. Yeah, I felt like there was a moment back there somewhere where I feel like, oh, I'm giving a gift back to Amba. So,
Yeah,
very happy about that.
yeah, yeah. It's very nice to see your smiling face.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing Amba's smiling face in my heart all the time. So it's nice to see it in person too, or at least on the screen here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if next time works, I'll reach out to you during the week, and if you're free, great. And if not, maybe a week later, we'll see. Yeah. Mm.
Mhm.
Till next time.
Mhm.